The CFL Gambling Podcast Week 9 reaction show and power rankings episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with the promo code TCESGPN to claim your first time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. Yes, they do have CFL action, folks. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCESGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Rhythm's college football and NFL picks and projections are now live. Claim your free 7-day trial period today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride.
This is Coach June Jones, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
CFL Gambling Podcast Week 9 reaction show. I can count sometimes. Excited to be here talking CFL football as the road to the 111th Grey Cup carries on. And just when you think you got this league figured out, you got no idea what the hell is happening here. It's exciting. Get on over to YouTube, youtube.com. Jump over there, type CFL Gambling Podcast, and you get us. We got graphics, a sweet ass 1-bar CFL helmet up on the top left corner. I am much in favor of the 1-bar face mask coming back. So if we could get that going for all quarterbacks, I would be all on board, and I would do it today because you'd see a lot quit. If you're wondering who the hell you're listening to, that's fair. My name is Colby Swigget, Database Dan, aka Pick Dundee, aka Cap Bozo. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
And you're nothing but a chameleon, lemon-headed, coward, terrorist pussy. And I'm after you, buddy. You're going to pay for it. Good night.
That goes out to a few players this week. I'd like to know a little more of the Dedrick Mills situation before I just completely rip him. It could have been a family emergency, but would have been nice to know that information. There's a few other ones there. I'm joined by my co-host, and I'm sure he'll rattle off a few. He is the host of the Old Fashioned Football Podcast and the UFL Gambling Podcast. Give it up for Justin Mark, aka No Turn J Mark. How are you, pal?
Doing good, man. How about you? It was an interesting weekend again. I do feel a little bad. This first game we're going to talk about, I think even when we made the picks, I said I had a weird feeling about it. And right before the game, I thought, even though I'd already bet BC and the points, I thought I'm going to throw some on Winnipeg money line just because I have a weird feeling about this game. Oh, man.
You can't sneak that shit in now. All right. Hey, chat. Anyone listen to this, please call him out for the piece of shit that he is. All right.
I'll accept it.
That's like when the Giants beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl. Is like 14-point dog, whatever the hell they were. I actually had a good feeling about the Giants the whole time. Had a great, one of the best upsets were like Broadway Joe in Super Bowl III, right? You're just sitting there saying, I had a feeling about old Broadway Joe. We'll see. All right. We do need receipts to quote Dion there in that one. But look, hop on over. All right. Cause we're going to recap all the games, talk about our power rankings. Yes. But before we do all that, I want to tell you the CFL Gambling Podcast is part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. And the Sports Gambling Podcast just launched their 32-team NFL team preview series. 32 episodes, 32 teams, got you covered. And we know, even though they have that silly ass, stupid ass kickoff in the NFL, don't worry, you can still make a lot of money. All right. And each episode the Sports Gambling Podcast releases, it will have a bonus included on every single one. Each team preview will include a code word. Submit the 32 code word phrase and you could be the lucky winner who gets a $500 NFL Circa future bet. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and the SGPN app, which is free to download in the App Store and Google Play Store. All right, back on the CFL Gambling Podcast. Shout out to Channing in the chat. Cheers, brother. First game. Thanks, Vernon Adams, for my 2 points. In fantasy. Jeez, what am I doing here? I don't know what's happening here. There we go. BC had a nice 4 first downs. I mean, you got to go back to 1912 for the last time the BC Lions didn't have more than 4 first downs. What in the fuck is this game? I hate everything about this. Is just when you start. This year has been wacky in the Canadian Football League. I'm not really complaining because I think it makes for a great postseason, but I will say I'm complaining from a handicapping point of view. Look, I can understand BC being wrong. I can see Winnipeg getting up. What I can't and what I won't subscribe to is the fact you could tell me BC was going to have 4 first downs and the fact that BC was going to throw for 86 total yards. This is horseshit. This is a horseshit performance. This game was fucking rigged. I don't know how else to put it besides just my DFS by Thursday. My DFS lineup was cooked. Absolutely cooked. 25-0. The Bombers beat the Lions. The Bombers all of a sudden look like they got Broadway Joe because good Lord, 438 yards of offense, 143 on the ground. What'd you make of this one?
Yeah, I mean, when we were, I guess, handicapping the show, we did point out that the Bombers are 3rd best against the pass, but in no way in my mind did I predict this. I don't know if it was just a situational game where Winnipeg felt like, hey, we have to win this, or if BC is starting to maybe get a little bit figured out. We saw 2 weeks ago before their bye, Calgary also slowed them down, not to this extent, but slowed them down, made them not score as many points as we're used to seeing. I also think I love Keon Hatcher. I think he's a hell of a player, but I think throwing him in, moving Justin McInnes, that really seemed to kind of throw some of the rhythm off. It looked like maybe Vernon Adams started to look for Justin and he's like, oh shit, that's not him. That's Keon. And it just threw stuff off a little bit. I think that'll smooth back out after a couple games or maybe even after just this week. But that was kind of interesting to watch. It seemed like Vernon Adams did not look like the same guy. He looked a little confused and we were used to seeing him kind of steamroll this league.
He was late on a lot of his passes, dude.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of his passes were late. 4 fucking first downs. Like, you think I'm joking? I think I could round up the neighborhood guys here, and we can get 4 first downs on Winnipeg. All right. No excuses here. This is bullshit. This is just a bullshit performance by BC. I can't get on board with this BC Lions team. This is a soulless effort here from this team. In a game, you had a bye week before this.
Mm-hmm.
Winnipeg has owned you over the past 5-6 years. Fuck are you doing? Soulless fucking team. You're a soulless team, and may God have mercy on your soul because this was disgusting. Vernon Adams got injured, sure, but it wasn't early into the game.
No.
What a dud. Ruined my fantasy money, ruined my and of course, the over under to the under hits there. I think we actually were right on that one though. Did we call over? Yeah, I didn't bet the over, but well, I did bet BC.
So are the Bombers back? Do we trust them?
No. They're showing signs of life though. But I can tell you this, man, that West Coast or that Western Division race is getting heated.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that in a bit, but I'm still just in awe about that game. Next up, Channing said makes no sense at all. Yeah, it didn't. You know what does make sense though is Hamilton being a piece of shit team. that I took a flyer on. Cody Fajardo didn't play. He didn't need to play. I hate this Hamilton. Look, if I'm being all honest, this is the team that bothers me the most in the whole league. I mean, early in the game, I thought they showed a little signs like, "Hey, maybe they are going to win this game." But by the mid-second quarter, I was convinced they're just a candy-ass team. They don't like to tackle. They're just a finesse team, dude. I hate them. I have a future on them. I like their fan base, but it is hard to root for Hamilton. Scott Milanovic, it wouldn't kill you to try to control the clock some. I don't understand a lot of the logic. Davis Alexander, by the way, from Montreal, looked he looked like Broadway Joe again. Almost 10 yards of completion. Yeah, I was way wrong here. Got my ass totally kicked here. We were on the under here though, right?
I was on the over.
So you didn't hit. Oh, so at least I got that right. What do you make of this game, dude? This was like I hate the Ticats. I'm gonna be honest. Like they just bother me. Montreal, doesn't matter the quarterback. They are the best team in this league. I feel very good about that statement. Still, I know we got to do power rankings later, but man, dominate. Like if you're doing this with your third string quarterback, which I know is really your second string because he was better than the second string, but I was impressed. I've been like, what Montreal game have you not been impressed with? I even like the Calgary game, the way they came back. It's really just been the Toronto game. One game, one blemish. Every other game they've looked legit, right?
Yeah, 100%. And I don't know why Davis Alexander was the third stringer because, I mean, he's playing lights out. I mean, there's nothing else to say about it. He's playing lights out. They're running the ball well. Walter Fletcher's doing really well. To him, or to your point on Hamilton, they're not good on defense. They don't make good tackles. Their offense puts up it seems like a bunch of yardage, but it's all bark, no bite. I mean, they can move the ball, but then they don't do anything with it. They're inefficient as shit. And I think it's time to maybe not let Bo Levi Mitchell start. Maybe we see what Taylor Powell can do, or their other quarterback, because it's just not working out. I feel like
I'm drawing a blank on the third stringer, but I remember when I interviewed June Jones a few weeks back, he said to watch out for him. One thing I can tell you is June Jones knows about quarterbacks. Now, Bo Levi Mitchell did play for June Jones, so I mean I understand that too. But I mean I just thought Hamilton was catching him in a I thought Hamilton would be the more desperate team in the spot they had to win that game. I know they play again here, but I mean it was crushing. Because even like the yardage, I know like the yardage, it's like, well, Montreal won by had 46 more yards of offense, but not if you watched it. If you watched it, Montreal was just better. They were just better.
And this was the game that Hamilton had to take because they took Fajardo off that 6-game list, which we learned if he stays on it, it doesn't come out of the cap, basically, but they took him off of it. So it's not going to help them in any way, which to me means he's close to coming back. Could be next week. This was the game they had to win because next week they play against Fajardo, who, as good as Davis Alexander has looked, Fajardo has looked very good.
Well, I don't get.
Sorry. It's just
that's what I think of the 6-game injury list as well.
Yeah, that rule is stupid, but they had to win that one. They were at home. Shout out to the chat, by the way. Football Jesus in there. Also, Bobbert K says, "Great show. We appreciate you, brother." Yeah, I mean, this one, why wasn't I shocked by? Like Montreal has the capability of doing this to anybody in the league. Gonna talk about the next 2 games. What's that? What are you gonna say?
I was gonna say I thought they'd win, but I thought Ticats would at least cover that 5.5.
Yeah, no, they're a lame team, dude. They're heartless, in my opinion. I don't say that about every team that I lost. You soulless son of a bitch, right? You heartless. No, but I mean Hamilton all year looks like they don't want to tackle, man. It's like you realize you signed up to play football. You know what I mean? Like, come on here. This would drive me irate. If I was Scott Milanovich, I would not throw another pass in practice again. I would just, and it's not like, I mean, Montreal only rushed for 96 yards, but it's just the tackling. Like they look like it's just like they don't want to make contact to me. And when that happens in football, that means there's blood in the water. There's blood in the water right there. Folks, I want to get to the other two games on the slate, but before I do that, I want to tell you that the CFL Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. They just launched Underdog Streaks. Hit your first two pick'em entries, and then you go streaking. If you can go on an 11-0 run, you can win 1,000 times the amount of money you can enter. Plus, Best Ball Mania is live with $15 million in prizes. They just added another college football contest for Best Ball. They have CFL action, folks. It's a lot of times, like some of our fans for the football or basketball show will say, "Yeah, I'm in Canada. I can't gamble. Certain parts of Canada, you can here." The old quarterback sneak. All right. So hop on over there. You can now use specials and boost on all flexed entries. So sign up, and when you do, sign up with the promo code TCESGPN to claim your special pick plus first time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. Underdog Fantasy promo code TCESGPN. We're also brought to you by Game Time. Yes, Game Time is now an authorized ticket marketplace of the MLB, which makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch. So if you're thinking about hitting a Blue Jays game, you know, gotta jump over to Game Time. With killer last minute deals, all in prices, views from your seat, and the lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. This works for CFL too. If you're looking to go to a game, you know, load that thing up and it'll take you there. Take the guesswork out of buying those tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app. Create an account. Use the promo code CFBX for $20 off your first purchase. Once again, terms apply. Redeeming code CFBX, $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. We are back on the CFL Gambling Podcast and ready to roll as we jump on over to a wild one. And this is one that I got it just. This was, I think, I'm actually not even going to say BC was the shocker. I gave you a hard time about your play with, and I'll just be honest. Everything I said that episode, if I can find this, yeah,
it was a shock. I thought it's a mistake, you know.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Yeah. I mean, this year has been hard, man. In the CFL, I've been doing this shit a while.
Mm-hmm.
If you would have told me, okay, I can understand Trey Ford comes in, has a big game, but 276 yards rushing and 528 yards total at Saskatchewan, who had a great home field advantage and their defense was playing good. I mean, Football Jesus says good info each week. Your picks are not good. In fact, they are bad, but info and entertainment. Yeah, look, I can't hide from it. I'll tell you this. I feel like most years I've been good. This year has been very, very challenging for me. I mean, like I said, I can understand being, this is what bothers me is like, I can understand Edmonton pulling off the upset, Trey Ford comeback win or something. I just can't see the way the game went down. Like I would have never guessed that. I would have never guessed 276 rushing yards on the road. That is my problem with this season so far. Is it's one thing to lose, but everything you watch lies to you. Like honestly, like I thought Saskatchewan's run defense was pretty damn good coming into this game. The worst team in the league just put up 276 rushing yards on you. It's been hard to handicap. It's been very fucking hard to handicap. But you were right on this handicap, you sandbagging son of a gun. What'd you make of this game, dude? I mean, 276 yards rushing. What?
Yeah, so that was insane. So I guess first of all, shout out to Javon Leake, 12 carries, 169 yards, 3 touchdowns. I guess that's where I ended up with egg on my face, because when we were going through DFS, I said, oh, you could throw him in rather than saying start him now, because I said he started to get more carries. But yeah, he had an amazing game. Now, rumors are that Trey Ford walked in with his pants down, big old schlong swinging, saying, you know what? Last time the Edmonton won, it was against Rough Riders.
Well, I don't get.
sorry.
He said last time they won, it was against Rough Riders, and I was the starting quarterback then. And the Rough Riders noticed that. In fact, if you saw in the first quarter, they tried to rip it off. He missed a play for that because he got nut punched basically. But yeah, I mean, just he plays a different kind of ball. Obviously, he adds a little bit more dynamic to their offense, something that they have to count for him to run. And I just think he had a really good confidence level, but also a really kind of prove it mentality. I mean, he was a starter for the majority of their games last year. He was the last one that won for this team. The last time they won was almost a year ago when he was the starter. So maybe he's thinking, I shouldn't be on the bench. Why am I on the bench? I'm the one that has actually won with this program. And yeah, I think he kind of showed that, and he balled out. Now, I did think that they were going to cover. I thought that they had a chance at winning. I did not see them putting up over 500 yards of offense. I did mention that the Rough Riders are allowing the most pass yards in the league, but did I think that it was going to be this much of kind of a yardage bloodbath? No.
I mean, dude, they ran for less than 100 like every fucking week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this is what I mean is like, this is out of the blue. You know what I mean? What did they do? Last week? Let's see. They rushed. Yeah. They had 99 yards last week on the ground, right? Before that, 39? I mean, where the fuck was this? This is what I mean, dude. It's like, this was just insane. 207. They got Herschel Walker playing for that. What's going on here? 276 rushing yards. I understand making the quarterback switch. I want to know what's, and I should have done the homework before this. I would like to know the biggest yardage amount Saskatchewan's given up all year, because I feel very confident it's this by a substantial amount.
I think that's true. Their defense has been very solid. And yeah, another shout out to Javon Leake, hit, what was it, 22.5 miles per hour, the fastest recorded time in football within the past several years here. And that includes NFL, college football, everything. So he's going to be an interesting play in DFS. I know it's going to be chasing numbers some, but I feel like from what we've seen, they won't adjust his price until maybe another week or two. It's going to be an interesting play.
That's true. That is true. Which game was Joey Chestnut at, by the way? He was at one of these.
I don't remember.
Oh man, there was an eating contest at halftime in one of these games. I think it was the Toronto game, if I had to guess. I don't remember, but yeah, I felt like Joey Chestnut after he had 6,000 fucking hot dogs, because this play was horrible. Horrible. I cannot believe they had 528 yards. Like, dude. So then comes Sunday, and Sunday was just the most hilarious game.
This fucking game.
I was convinced that actually, hang on, let me read an ad, because I want to talk about this for 5 minutes. Folks, I want to tell you, the CFL Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Rhythm. Football season is here, and college football and NFL models are now live on Rhythm. Create your own winning betting model, or let Rhythm do all the heavy lifting for you. You decide what stats matter most to you, and then Rhythm can build a custom model around that. Or if you could just sit back and let Rhythm and do its work, and its predictive model will do all the heavy lifting for you. Rhythm uses AI projections and from MIT data scientists and quants. Rhythm already has you covered for NFL Week 1 and college football Week 0. I'm telling you, the game in Ireland, I like Georgia Tech plus 13 against Florida State. Claim your free 7-day trial period today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. We're also brought to you by Circa Survivor and Circa Millions. Yes, Circa Sports is back with Circa Survivor and Circa Millions, giving away $16 million in guaranteed prizes. Imagine the regret you'll feel if you win your office pool for $300 and I don't know, friggin' Spalding basketball or something, right? But you didn't enter the Circa Survivor because those picks would have been good anywhere. 18 weeks, whatever, 19 weeks. If you don't have a trip booked yet for Las Vegas, before football season, may I recommend Ultimate Contest Weekend? It's a great time to go out. You can hang with my pals, stacking the money and real money Kramer, and enjoy some of the open bar events at the greatest sports book in the world, August 22nd to August 24th. Use the promo code SGP15 to save you 15% off your hotel room as well. So what are you doing, folks? Sign up in person at Circus Sports between now and September 7th and use a proxy to play from anywhere. We even have a deal with the proxy. Go to proxy.footballcontest.com to save you $50 with the promo code SGP. All right, we are back and we're talking about the wild game. So I'm going to tell you the truth here. I'm 0-3. I got a large wager on Calgary. And I'm chasing the dragon a little bit. Like I invested more in Calgary because I was like, I can't go 0-4. There's no way I'm going 0-4. And I throw a bunch of money into it, and I'm watching the game here in the studio, doing college football work for SGPN2. Check out the college football experience. And it comes to a point where I'm down, I think it was 23-6. And I go, I guess after there was a critical sack at that point, and I just said, fuck off. I said, because it was affecting my mood on the college football show. So I'm thinking I go 0-4. And luckily, I have final score notifications turned on my phone just in case I missed something. But I'm in the middle of doing stuff, and I missed the whole. This was a great game. Now I since went back and watched it, but I missed the end of this game because I thought there was no way that I won this thing and that I went 0-4. But thank God my Stampeders, not only did they win, they are alive and well for potential home field. What did you make of this one? And Cam Eccles looper, what a touchdown, by the way.
Yeah, for sure. What a collapse by the Argonauts. I mean, I started saying a couple weeks ago that I feel like they're a little fraudulent, and this game kind of showed it. I mean, they're a team that, yeah, they can run the ball, they can play some good defense, and they can get up in games, but that doesn't mean shit if you can't stay with it. I guess I could keep beating up Cam Dukes, but if you've listened to us before, you know how I feel. I don't think he should be their starting quarterback. I don't think he can read his progressions properly. I think he hangs onto the ball a long time. And I also think once they did get behind, he's not a quarterback that can lead you from behind because he can't make those deep throws very accurately. I know he's had some that are nice, but there's not a consistency there that you can count on.
True. But I don't think that interception was all on him, but
no, it wasn't. But there were other long throws there that were just way off that he should have hit the guy.
I'm finally going to back you up on this. Before I thought it was just your love for Brian Scott just bleeding into the fucking show, right? as if you're watching this on YouTube, he references his Brian Scott jersey. I'm not going to blame him for the fourth quarter, even though the interception, like the main thing I'll blame him for is the game. Mm-hmm. Toronto's offensive line's fantastic, and Calgary, their pass rush has been pretty ass all year. And the amount of time Cam Dukes got to throw a lot of these passes, and it's like he has a hard time making a decision, dude. I don't understand it. Like I understand like late in the game when you drop everybody, It's harder. That's a real problem for passing quarterbacks. When the numbers are stacked in the defense's favor in a way, it is harder. So I'm not going to blame him on that part. I'm going to blame him on the beginning of the game. Even when they got that lead, I don't think it was because of him. I think it was the interception, the strip, but it drives me crazy in a way. Like he would just sit there and take sacks. It's like, dude, get rid of the Now, I mean, I had Calgary, so I was happy, but I'm saying like from a football point of view of being a fan of football, I'm like, what are you doing, dude? You cannot hold on to the ball that long. And then you just take a sack. You know what I mean? Like get rid of the ball. Make it even if you got to throw the ball away. You can't sit back there every play for 10 seconds. I think it's a real problem, and it showed in this game because the St. Peter's pass rush is ass all year, and so I don't believe it's like, those sacks were because of great defensive line play. No, he needs to buy the offensive line a drink because they were doing like if you have that long, like go watch all of his sacks. Those are coverage sacks, or he can't break down the offense.
Yeah,
it's one or the other. And he struggled, man. And Toronto, there's a lot of red flags, man. This is a game when you're up 23-6 in the fourth, you got to win that game on the road. You got to win that fucking game. Hey, what a cash right here. And yeah. And they didn't run. Why didn't they run the ball? I don't know. Like Toronto's offensive line is phenomenal, and it's a little bit. This is on Dinwiddie.
I was gonna say I'm losing some confidence in Dinwiddie. I've been a big fan of his the past couple of years here, but I'm losing some confidence in his coaching decisions, in the play calling, everything. I mean, the quarterback shuffling he's done a little bit of, and then going back to Cam Dukes rather than I think Nick Arbuckle. I mean, he struggled as well, but he did show better passing. I felt like so just switching that all around. I don't know. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I mean, last week he calls out Cam Dukes for taking off too soon, not going through his progressions and running too soon. And then he starts him. I don't feel like that sends the best message when you're saying this guy's not reading and we're starting him,
Well, at least run.
Right. True. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he did run a lot. And even when they're up 21-0, call more design quarterback runs. Cause he is a good athlete. He can run the ball well. Teach him the fucking RPO. Do something where you're keeping the ball in his hands or giving it to Kadeem Carey and bleeding the clock some. I know it's harder to bleed the clock in CFL because it is 3-down football, but it can still be done when your offensive line dominates, and their offensive line does dominate. It was just poor play calling. All around hustle asking, is Chad Kelly coming back? There's not been an official ruling. He had his 9 weeks where he had to take classes and be suspended. Now there will be, I guess, sort of like a hearing where they'll decide if he has shown enough progress to start.
Wait. We got him on the line right here. Chad, are you there?
I smoke and I drink and I don't have stress and I'm healthy.
Okay. Well, are you going to be coming back in week 9?
I'm probably drinking too much and celebrating too much and not sleeping. Would have killed a normal man.
Week 10.
No, that's gone. The medical advice I got from that was like being hit by lightning. Pretend it never happened and get on with your life.
Okay. Okay. So I guess he's ready to come back. He's just celebrating though. So I don't know when he'll come back, but Toronto, I'm curious about these power. I think this is the most interesting week for power rankings, by the way, because I think you only have one slot figured out.
Yeah. I even broke mine down, not just in power rankings, but in tiers. Cause I feel like even if you're talking about the 2-3 team, the 4-5, I feel like they're different tiers than the ones above them.
Yeah. Let's get to it. Power ranking time, folks. Let me remove all this shit. Team 9, Hamilton. Look, I want to put Edmonton, but you can't put up 600 yards of offense just about and be dead last. You cannot do that. You can in 3-down football, putting up 585 yards or whatever that number was. You can't be 9. Hamilton, Scott Milanovich. Look, I grew up in the area where Scott Milanovic played college ball. Played for the Maryland Terrapins, and my mother's a grad there. And I remember watching him, and I want to root for him. I want him to succeed. But if I was in charge of the Hamilton Ticats, he'd be gone. He'd be gone. And like I said, I mean, maybe it's too early to do that, and maybe I'm the asshole, but it's just the way they play, dude. It's just the way they play. Even when they win, they win like pussies too, dude. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Who do you got at 9?
Yeah, so kind of in the same tier as Edmonton that you talked about, but I have Hamilton as 9th as well. They just pussy ball. I think it was Channing that said it. It's pussy ball, and that's what they do. And you can't trust them to beat any team. They've won some games, sure, but you can't trust them to win games.
Yeah.
The only thing on my mind, Gene, was pussy.
Yeah. Scott Milanovic right there. At number 8, I will put the Eskimos, but that was I just need to see that again. Now you have tape. I said that last week though. You had a little bit of tape on them the week before. I just need to know that's like, if they're really going to be able to do this, if you can, not even 500, if you can guarantee me 400 yards next week, I'd be very, very impressed. But I have to keep them at 8 right now until I see otherwise. Who do you got at 8?
Yeah, I mean, from what I heard, all his success last week was garbage time, and he wasn't going to succeed. I mean, that's what I heard, anyways. I also have Edmonton because I'm not going to bump them up much more after one game. We got to see the consistency. I mean, this is the first time they've won in almost a year, so we need to see some consistency from them before they can move up any rankings. Despite the fact that it was a very impressive win at Saskatchewan on the road against a good defense that they absolutely crushed. They crushed that defense compared to what anybody else has been able to do.
Yeah, landscaper Bob, poor landscaper Bob. I was on the other side of that coin with the. Like I said, I didn't even watch. I didn't even rejoice. Like, I watched 3 quarters and I was like, oh fuck this game, and then I just found out I won. I need to not watch more of this. And he also says the Eskimos are a scam. Landscaper Bob. The Eskimo foes. I like that. At number 7, this is where it gets really dicey. I still got Winnipeg, but damn, if Winnipeg played a couple of these teams right now, I might take Winnipeg, but I need to see it consistently. So give me the Blue Bombers at 7. Like, you could talk me into them being 6th. I'll say that. Who do you got at 7?
So I talked about those other 2 teams are in tier 5. This is up to my tier 4, where it's 2 teams that they could win any game, they can lose every game. And it's Toronto. For me at number 7, they can win any of these games. They have a strong run defense. I thought they were well coached. They have a good running game and a good defense. But they also have had these performances where it's like, this team fucking sucks. Like, they can't do anything right. So yeah, until they can figure out until they figure it out. Despite me not thinking Chad Kelly deserves another chance, if he comes back and they do well, maybe they can ascend. But right now, they're down towards the bottom of the barrel for me. They're number 7.
Better luck next year.
Well, that's my number 6. That's what I was going back and forth between Winnipeg and Toronto, and I'm like, I gotta trust Toronto. Like, Toronto, if you're grading them throughout the season, they have been better from an eye test point of view. So I'll take them to be better, but they're certainly my number 6 right now, because I don't know. And to me, the more the season goes on, the worse they look. So we'll see. Who's your number 6?
My number 6, another team that they can win any game, they can lose any game. I mean, I gave you shit for taking them because they only scored 6 fucking points last week, and they should have lost. I thought they were only going to score 6 points again, and then all of a sudden they scored 21 in the 4th quarter. I got Calgary as number 6. I'm not super impressed with the win. I mean, props to them for coming back. 21 points in a quarter is good, but to me, I think it's more of the fact that Toronto is inconsistent. But yeah, so I got Calgary at 6th.
You sandbagging son of a gun. Not me. This is where we differ. You're not giving them the respect. At number 5, I got the Rough Riders. You can't give up that many yards to the shittiest team in the league. Or the second shittiest. They were phony all year. Corey Mace is a good coach. He can patch them up and make them look a little bit better than they really are. I've been a skeptic all year on that offense. And after last week, I'm starting to become a skeptic on that defense too. So I got the Saskatchewan Rough Riders at number, what is this, 5? Yeah.
Number 5. Yep. This bumps up to tier 3 in my tiers if you're playing along. I also have Saskatchewan. Now, AJ Alouette should be back next week. Trevor Harris back in a week or two. That could make a difference because I think Shea Patterson has done all right. Better than I expected he would do, I guess I should say. But I think Trevor Harris is a far better quarterback than Shea Patterson. So that could change a lot with this. And the defense, maybe they slept one game and they get back to kind of being a better defense like we thought they were. So I didn't want to drop them too far, but I do have them down at 5.
Well, at my number 4, see, I like this because we're all off. I got the Calgary Stampeders at number 4. That win against BC 2 weeks ago. You're just sleeping on that one. You're sleeping on that one. At home, this Calgary team is good. On the road is when you worry. And they were asleep a little bit, but they woke up. They got it done. And also, like, come on, that strip where the guy thought he was down, that would have gotten up points on the first drive. That the momentum right out the gate was fucked on that strip. But I like Dave Dickinson's squad. I think, and now that BC and Saskatchewan are looking very beatable, I think Calgary might be there to reap the benefits. So they're my number 4. How about you at 4?
Well, just to kind of refute your I guess comment that their win against BC was impressive. I would be inclined to agree with that more if BC just didn't put up a goose egg against Winnipeg. Now I'm thinking maybe.
Well, but you still have BC ranked ahead of them.
I do.
Yeah.
My number 4 is Winnipeg. I was really impressed with how they completely shut out BC even before Vernon Adams got hurt. Some of that might have been on BC's side, the confusion, the switching up of players and everything and personnel and where they are on the field. But they still were able to also move the ball decently. This is a team that it is hard to count them out because we've seen what they could do last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I mean, we've seen what this team and the core of the team that's still there can do. So it's hard to rule them out when they win games like that, 25-0. That's what we're used to seeing. So I bumped them up to 4th. I'm starting to get some confidence in these Blue Bombers.
Whew.
Let's go.
Bomber Nation, happy to hear that. At number 3 for me is the BC Lions. And I don't enjoy putting them at 3, but I think they deserve it. They deserve it as of right now. But they're like a really good version of the Hamilton Ticats. You know what I mean? Of like, I'm paranoid about them for the whole stretch of the season. I just feel like they're a finesse team. And they're starting to get figured out more and more. I feel like from a defensive point of view, I don't have a lot of faith. So 3 could be 4, 5, 6 next week. So we'll see. What are you doing at 3?
I get what you're saying with the comparison with Hamilton. I think the only difference there being that they have much more talent, I feel like, on their team. But I completely get what you're saying about kind of being a finesse team there. This is entering the second tier, the second, I guess, best tier here at BC. I think that changing the personnel really kind of fucked with the rhythm. I don't think that's going to last. I think that we're going to see them bounce back in a week or two here and look like that high-flying offensive team, get everybody on the same page, get Vernon Adams back to, this guy's supposed to be here. And I think they'll be all right. I'm not too worried yet, but 2 losses in a row with a bye week sandwich in between is never a good look. So I guess they're kind of on alert.
Yes, especially with that bye week, and especially knowing that that's like a rival that's whooped their ass.
Yeah.
What's going on? Thought they'd come in motivated. At number 2, because I think we all have the same team at number 1, is the Ottawa. Rod Villagomez. Where the hell are you? The Red Blacks have somehow found themselves up to number 2. Even myself sounding a lot like Lou Holtz here. Where when I just say this, I look at my own list and I look at Ottawa at number 2 and I go,
well I don't get the brain bag.
They deserve to be number 2 right now. Like, they've only gotten better as the season's gotten along. The other teams have gotten worse. You know, what teams have gotten better? I'd say Montreal has stayed the same.
Yep.
And Ottawa is a team that got better. You know, and it's not just a 1 week sample. They've gotten better. Like, we've seen a few weeks of that. So I got the Red Blacks at number 2. Who do you got at number 2?
Yeah, same. And if Saskatchewan can't stop the bleed on defense that we saw this week, then you need to start Drew Brown. You need to start all these offensive players because they're about to light them up if they can't correct it. Yeah, I got Ottawa at number 2 as well. We mentioned throughout this year that their defense has been pretty good. It's been the offense that we've been waiting to catch up, and Drew Brown has gotten better every single game, it seems like. And now he's had, I think, 3 in a row of over 350 passing yards, multiple touchdowns. I mean, he's he's looking like a baller, and I think he could make some noise. I think they could really make a push. And I think you're going to see the Red Blacks make the playoffs.
I think you're right. And yeah. And obviously number 1 is the Alouettes. They look like the team to beat. Like, they're just, how big is the gap? It's pretty big, right?
It is very big. They're in a tier 1 by themselves in my list here where I tiered teams out. Because usually you expect a starting quarterback to miss time and the team to really falter, and they really haven't. And shout out, I guess, to Davis Alexander, but also the game planning and the rest of the team for rallying behind him and helping support him. And his defense is so good. I know they've had some games where they slipped a little bit, but this defense is so good. It's hard to game plan to move the ball on them.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, phenomenal. Your second string or third string, however you want to look at it, comes in and you play this well. Very, very impressive stuff. I always feel like they something that gets lost in scores is dictate like the pace of the game. I feel like they're always in charge of the pace of the game for the most part. Short, maybe throw out the Calgary game and but for the most part of this year, they've always dictated the pace of the game to me, or the game script in a way. All right, well, look, that's our power rankings. Obviously, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday action in the CFL this coming week. J Mark, before we get out of here, we got Thursday, Saskatchewan at Ottawa. Friday, Calgary at the Argos. Revenge on the mind. Saturday, Hamilton, Montreal again. And Sunday, the BC Lions at the Eskimos. Which one are you most excited to see? I think all 4 kind of pack a better punch this week than previous weeks.
Yeah, they're definitely all intriguing. They got some good storylines, but for me, it's Thursday's game. I want to see if Ottawa, after their bye week, has a great game plan thrown together, and if they're able to take pieces of what Edmonton did in taking advantage of that Saskatchewan defense.
Yeah, I think you could be right. I don't know. Calgary, Toronto to me is one that I'm really excited to see, because I feel like Toronto's got to you got to feel like you let them off the hook. So we'll see if this is a game that questions your heart to me for Toronto. Yeah, for sure. So that one catches my eye, but I think you're right with Saskatchewan and Ottawa. We're going to talk about it on the Week 10 preview and picks episode, as well as DFS. Don't forget CFL DFS. We do. I actually have been pretty damn good at that this year, minus the past 2 weeks. Or a few. I think
I was 4 points from winning money. 4 fucking
with Vernon Adams too.
I didn't have Vernon Adams. I had
okay.
Trey Ford. Remember, you shat on me for having him.
That's right. And he had how did you not win money with that? With what? What?
Yeah, I know. It's because I didn't have Javon Leak. He put up some major numbers.
Well, we will be back Wednesday morning to talk about that, folks. So subscribe to the CFL Gambling Podcast wherever podcasts can be found, and get on over there on YouTube. All right, YouTube.com. Type in CFL Gambling Podcast. Hit that like and subscribe button. If you could go to iTunes and give us a 5-star review too, that impresses the bosses. The bosses then say, "Hey, let's keep this show rolling. Stuff matters." Sponsors also look at that and say, "Hey, maybe we should invest." Still waiting for that Labatt Blue. Anyway, any Canadians listening out there, what do we got to do to get a Canadian beer or whiskey sponsor? All right. What do we got to do? Somebody knows somebody. You're holding back. All right. Come on. Let's go. Give JMark a follow on Twitter at JMarkFootball. Check out the Old Fashioned Football Podcast. Obviously, they're always doing awesome stuff. What do you got? What do you got planned? What do you got upcoming?
Well, we've been making our way through our top 12 lists at position, and that's led to a lot of arguing with my co-host, which is my wife. So that's always fun. And the season's almost here. I mean, I got so many fantasy football drafts popping off. So we're helping you get ready for those.
There you go. Check out the Old Fashioned Football Podcast. Check out the UFL Gambling Podcast. And look, I'm on Twitter at DColbyD. Make sure you check out the College Football Experience, breaking down all 134 teams in the land with an hour-long preview for every single team in the land. Also, check out the FCS College Football Experience, the Stadium Heads Podcast, and the College Basketball Experience. Was that season's getting closer and closer? I know there's some Zach Edey fans out there. Let's go. All right. Till Wednesday, folks. This is the CFL Gambling Podcast Week 9 reaction show and power rankings episode. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.
I lost a bet on the Super Bowl, so I had to dive in and crawl around through the snow. Don't believe me? Believe me, there's a video. We made it to promote March 5th and then we did the show. Before March, there was a winter to be lived through, and snow fell on the DC metropolis. In some other cities, this wouldn't be big news, but where I live, it felt like an apocalypse. Not the kind where zombies or the wrath of God, but the kind where Mother Nature doesn't laugh it off. I didn't laugh at all. I saw the sky smoking the blunt, now waiting for the ash to fall. Traffic stalled for a few weeks. Capitol Hill of snow taking up a parking space. A couple notches on the beltway ain't unique, but higher in freezes give more than your heart to race. I mean, the rats were frostbitten, they lost it, risking their lives just to make it to the office. Exhausting, caustic, cold front rose up through the mid-Atlantic and did its damage. Detective Bailey didn't expect a camera and brought a gun to a snowball fight. I know my rights in the season of mood swing. Some of us winning, some of us losing. That broken clock's been blinking since winter. I hope it's not telling me I was born to lose. I lost my temper, but I found my center. Winning winter, so I can stay warm with you. That broken clock's been blinking since winter. I hope it's not telling me I was born to lose. I lost my temper, but I found my center. Winning